release of Tenet, there are now 11 movies that Christopher Nolan has directed. So, of course, today we're going to go back over them and rank them all from the worst to the best. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I'm Movie Micah. Yeah, I know I did a Christopher Nolan ranking only a couple weeks ago, but one, my ranking has changed quite a bit ever since then, and two, Tenet actually did come out, which I didn't think was going to happen. But without further ado, let's get into this ranking. At number 11, I have Following. This was Nolan's first ever movie, and I don't think it's bad, but it is the least enjoyable one. The characters are all really unlikable, and the story itself isn't very fun. Following is nowhere near Nolan's most sophisticated film, but it is one of the more confusing ones in my opinion because the explanation at the end is not executed all that well. I still don't really know everything that happened, and I don't know if it's worth my time to find out. Nolan experimented with making his stories in the wrong order, but every movie to follow did it pretty much better, honestly. My number 10 is going to be Insomnia. Insomnia is actually pretty interesting. Out of all of these movies, this is definitely the one that doesn't really feel like Christopher Nolan. This is the only film that he didn't write, and it's actually a remake. The premise is pretty interesting in this film, though. I really liked the performances by Robin Williams and Al Pacino, and the themes that this movie explores are pretty good. It tackles things like doing the right thing and having a guilty conscience. Insomnia is not a movie I would really want to rewatch, but it's certainly not bad. My number 9 is actually going to be Batman Begins. A lot of people really love Batman Begins, and I think it's still okay, but it didn't do it for me. I can appreciate that this movie saved Batman, because after Batman and Robin, there seemed to be no hope, but I think we got back on the right track here. It was good to finally have an origin story for the character, but there's a lot that I really don't like. The villain Ra's al Ghul fell completely flat for me, and these action scenes are honestly not very good, but I do think Nolan nailed the character of Batman perfectly for the first time. Coming in at number 8 is going to be Dunkirk. Dunkirk is a thrilling war movie that I do enjoy quite a bit. The overall tension and tone of the movie really works, and I especially enjoyed the air battles with Tom Hardy. But even though I like the movie, I am going to mention a bunch of negatives. The choice to just focus on the story and barely focus on the characters was not my favorite. It's hard to stay intrigued when you know nothing about the characters. I also never caught how the 3 timelines connected, so there's quite a few things that I just don't enjoy quite as much. In my number 7 spot, I have Tenet. When I walked out of Tenet, I absolutely loved it. This concept is phenomenal, and everything they do with this time stuff is amazing. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite concept that has ever appeared in a Nolan movie. But this film was also extremely frustrating. The plot is so insanely hard to follow that it's really difficult to even describe this story. There's so much that I don't understand that I can't let myself put it any higher, even though I love a lot about it. This is Nolan's best concept and his worst plot all in the same film, and that's why it's really hard to place. Taking 6th place is Memento. Memento is a really cool film. I love what it does with the non-chronological story because it forces you to pay attention the whole time. You can't just relax and watch the movie, you have to pay attention to every detail. I love the way Nolan told this story because you as an audience member don't get to know any more than the person with short-term memory loss. It's amazing the way he decided to put us in the character's shoes. Memento is very well made, and the beginning at the end was just phenomenal. Cracking the top 5 is The Dark Knight. While I do find The Dark Knight a bit overrated, it's still a pretty great film. It takes the good ideas from Batman Begins, but makes it just more fun. Nobody should ever talk about The Dark Knight without mentioning Heath Ledger as the Joker, who I think is easily the best part of this film. Every other performance was good, but Heath Ledger steals every scene he's in. My hot take about this movie is that I think both of these villains ended up being a little underused, but nevertheless, The Dark Knight is a very well-made crime thriller. My number 4 is The Dark Knight Rises. This is actually my favorite in the Dark Knight trilogy, and it's also my favorite DC film of all time. I think this is where Christian Bale as Batman is at his best. The Dark Knight Rises has some of my favorite Batman moments of all time. When he comes back to being Batman, it's awesome, and when he escapes the pit, it's even more awesome. I think I would also hold Tom Hardy's Bane on the same level as Heath Ledger's Joker. I really loved this Bane as a villain. And finally, I would say the action is easily the best in the trilogy here in this film. In third place is Interstellar. This film moved up a couple places ever since last time because I realized it is the most emotional Christopher Nolan movie. The central relationship between Murphy and Cooper is amazing, and it carries the story along for me. Cooper might just be my favorite character that Nolan has ever created. I also think what they do with the time relativity is amazing. When Cooper is watching years of his kids' lives pass away in minutes, it is so emotional. And also visually, Interstellar is just beautiful. Ever since last ranking, I realized I really do love Interstellar. And now my runner-up is Inception. Inception is such a crazy movie that doesn't seem like it should work, but it does on every level. The concept of dreaming inside of another dream is so interesting on its own, and Nolan took it to another level. The main character, Cobb, is one of the better ones because of what happened to his wife, which I won't spoil. The action is also done really well. I think the unique concept of this film allowed them to do action in a really new, creative way. Inception has a really interesting story and concept, but it's also a really entertaining film, so how can you not like it? But first place, I knew it from the first time I saw it. My number one is still The Prestige. This film blew me away the first time, and I continue to enjoy it every rewatch because I noticed more foreshadowing and Easter eggs that led up to the incredible final reveal. The lead performances by Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale are both amazing. The film goes back and forth on which character is more evil, but by the end you realize they're both pretty bad people. Honestly, I can't understand why this movie is disliked by people. It is so well made, and the twists at the end are insane. The Prestige is pretty underappreciated, and it will probably always be my favorite Nolan movie. Thanks for watching. That was my ranking of all 11 Christopher Nolan movies. He's my favorite director of all time, so this was a really hard ranking to put together, and even the ones at the bottom of the list, I still enjoy very much. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button and subscribe up here so you don't miss out on any more of my future ranking videos coming soon. Also, you can check out more of my other videos right up here. Thanks for watching. This is Movie Micah signing off, and I'll see you next time.